Well, we're talking big changes for Election Day in the works for the city of Detroit, from stepping up security to counting ballots early. We have just 5 days to go now before voters head to the polls. 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham in Detroit, where he heard from people and election officials on how this election differs from 2020.
If you voted absentee in Detroit, this is where your ballot is being counted right here, right now. The city clerk says that election workers have been counting absentee ballots here at Huntington Place as of Monday morning. On the contrary, back in 2020, clerks couldn't even tabulate absentee ballots until Tuesday, Election Day. So what's happening here is one of the key differences this presidential election. How long have you been a voter in Detroit?
Now, I'm not going to tell you that.
No.
You try to figure out my age.
Reverend Karen Goodson did say she recalls election night 2020 and the high tensions Detroit witnessed at Huntington Place as election workers counted absentee ballots and Trump supporters banged on the windows.
And knock on the windows and try to bust in. That's just totally ridiculous.
Goodson says she voted absentee this year out of convenience, so her ballot is among the 100,000 ballots City Clerk Janice Winfrey anticipates voters will mail in and will be counted by these election workers. And Elections Director Daniel Baxter says security measures are much tighter in and around the building.
We now have bulletproof glass on the front of our building. We have more cameras. We have a panic button.
Through my years as clerk, I felt like it's an overkill to have an officer with me.
But Winfrey says that's another change this election season based on the last.
And they came to my home in 2020 and threatened my life because they thought that I had something to do with the fact that Trump lost. Then it became different for me. Unfortunately, I have to have someone with me.
She says she anticipates 53% of the city's 524,000 registered voters to cast a ballot, whether it be absentee, early voting, or the old-fashioned way.
I'd rather just go in a booth, mark mine, and hand it right in, right then and there.
Winfrey is asking voters not to mail their absentee ballots in at this point. The city wants to make sure to receive them on time by Election Day. So instead, Winfrey says to drop them off at absentee ballot boxes. In Detroit, Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
Thank you so much, Darren. Now, of course, presidential candidates continue to zero in on battleground Michigan with just days to go before the election. Today, we learned that Kamala Harris will return to Michigan on Sunday. Right now, we're working to find out where she'll be speaking. Former President Trump is returning to Metro Detroit for a rally in Warren tomorrow afternoon. Also tomorrow, Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz will stop at events in Detroit, Flint, and Traverse City. Now, we have more election information and resources at WXYZ.com, including where to find your polling location and to see a sample ballot.